My friends, listen carefully. The greatest difference between success and failure, between happiness and misery, between wealth and poverty, it is not luck, not background, not talent. It is thinking. The way you think will shape the way you live. If your thinking is small, your life will be small. If your thinking is trapped in fear, your actions will always be timid. But if your thinking is bold, courageous, and full of possibilities, then your future has no limits. When problems come, most people complain. When opportunities come, most people doubt. Correct thinking means you do not stop at the problem. You look for the solution. You do not freeze in front of opportunity. You run toward it. Life is not about what you see. It is about how you see it. Poor thinking asks, what if I fail? Correct thinking asks, what if I succeed? Poor thinking says it's too hard. Correct thinking says hard means valuable. Poor thinking waits for the world to change. Correct thinking changes itself first and then changes the world. Understand this. The world does not reward excuses. It rewards results. The world does not give sympathy. It gives opportunity. The winners are not the strongest, not the fastest, not even the smartest. They are the ones who think differently, who see a chance where others see nothing. So I ask you, starting today, change the way you think. See every failure as training. See every obstacle as a hidden gift. See every doubt as a signal that you are close to something powerful. Do not waste another day with negative thoughts. Correct your thinking, correct your future, correct your life. Now go, take your ideas seriously. Take your dreams seriously. Stop waiting for permission. Start acting with courage. The world is waiting for you to think correctly and then to act powerfully. Every day, people wake up with two choices: to think about what they cannot do or to think about what they can. This is the very first decision that separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. Most people spend their energy focusing on limitations. They say, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, I don't have the right connections. They build walls around themselves before even taking a single step forward. But correct thinking is different. Correct thinking looks at the same situation, and instead of seeing walls, it sees doors. It asks, what resources do I already have? Who can I learn from? How can I take the first step with what I have right now? Possibilities exist everywhere, but only those with correct thinking can see them. Think about history, think about business, think about life. Every breakthrough, every invention, every successful person was once standing in the same place you are right now, facing doubt, facing lack of resources, facing fear. If they thought about limitations, they would have stopped immediately, but they asked a different question. They asked, what is possible? That simple shift in thought creates a different reality. Two people can stand in the same storm. One sees only the rain and the cold, while the other sees the chance to grow crops, to harvest more, to build strength. The difference is not the storm, the difference is thinking. Correct thinking does not deny that problems exist. It does not pretend that the road is easy. It acknowledges the challenge, but it does not stop there. When you think correctly, you say, yes, this is difficult. Yes, the road is steep, but inside this difficulty is a possibility that others cannot see. That is how leaders are born, how innovators rise, how ordinary people create extraordinary results. They do not allow their minds to become prisons of negativity. Instead, they train their minds to search for opportunity like a treasure hunter searches for gold. Imagine a person who loses their job. A mind that thinks with limitations will say, it's over. I can't survive. I am unlucky. That thinking only produces fear and inaction. But a mind that chooses possibilities will say, this is my chance. I can learn a new skill. I can start a small business. I can connect with people I never had time to connect with before. The same event, the same setback, but two completely different futures. Why? Because of the way they think. Correct thinking is not about having everything perfect. It is about seeing potential when nothing looks certain. Opportunities never announce themselves with a loud voice. They come quietly, disguised as problems, disguised as challenges, disguised as risks. Most people miss them because their minds are trained to see only what is missing. But those who think correctly train their minds to see hidden doors. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for the perfect time. They don't wait for others to believe in them. They believe first, they act first, and they create momentum while everyone else is still complaining. Correct thinking is a habit, and like every habit, it must be practiced daily. It means catching yourself when you say, I can't, and replacing it with, how can I? It means catching yourself when you say, it's too late, and replacing it with, now is the best time to start. It means catching yourself when you say, I don't know enough, and replacing it with, I will learn what I need. Over time, these small shifts in thinking create massive changes in reality. You begin to see doors where you once saw walls. You begin to take action where you once froze. You begin to attract opportunities where you once saw only scarcity. Correct thinking is not a gift that some people are born with. It is a decision, repeated over and over again until it becomes natural. Every time you choose to see possibilities instead of limitations, you strengthen that mental muscle. And as this muscle grows, so does your courage, your creativity, and your results. Correct thinking is turning failure into strength. Every person in life will experience failure, and this is something you cannot escape. But what separates ordinary people from extraordinary achievers is not the absence of failure, it is the interpretation of it. Failure by itself is just an event, just an outcome. It does not define you unless you choose to let it. Most people make the mistake of thinking that failure is proof that they are not capable, not smart enough, not talented enough. But the truth is that failure is proof that they are trying, proof that they are moving, proof that they are on the road where growth happens. Failure is not your enemy. Your enemy is the way you think about failure. When you think incorrectly, you see failure as an ending. You say to yourself, I tried once, I lost, therefore it is not for me. You shrink your dreams to fit your wounds, and you let disappointment write your story. But when you think correctly, you see failure as a beginning, not an ending. You say, this is my lesson. This is my teacher. This is the exact feedback I need to become stronger. Suddenly, the failure that once looked like a barrier transforms into a stepping stone. It is no longer something that keeps you from your goal. It becomes part of the path to your goal. Think of every great person who has achieved something remarkable. Their stories are filled with mistakes, rejections, and setbacks. They were told no 100 times before they heard one yes. They fell, they stumbled, they were laughed at. But instead of letting failure bury them, they let it shape them. They treated every failure as fuel for their fire. That is correct thinking. Not asking, why me, but asking, what can I learn from this? Correct thinking transforms the pain of failure into wisdom. Each time you fail, you are given information about what does not work. This information is priceless because it points you toward what will work. Without failure, there is no refinement, no sharpening, no growth. Imagine a sword being forged. It must go through fire again and again. Imagine a diamond being formed. It must endure intense pressure. In the same way, failure applies heat and pressure to your life, and with correct thinking, you come out stronger, clearer, and more resilient. When people run away from failure, they also run away from growth. They avoid risks, they avoid challenges, they avoid stepping outside their comfort zone. They live a safe life, but also a small life. Correct thinking, on the other hand, embraces failure as a natural part of the process. It understands that every risk carries the possibility of loss, but also the possibility of greatness. You cannot have one without the other. Those who think correctly accept the risk of failing because they know it is the only way to eventually succeed. Correct thinking does not allow failure to touch your identity. You may have failed, but that does not make you a failure. You may have lost money, but that does not make you poor in spirit. You may have been rejected, but that does not make you unworthy. Failure is an event in the past, not a label for your future. The moment you separate who you are from what happened, you gain freedom. You realize that you are not broken. You are being built. You are not defeated. you are being prepared. There is also a hidden strength that only failure can unlock. It gives you humility, it teaches you patience, it builds perseverance. Success can make people careless, arrogant, or blind, but failure keeps you grounded, sharp, and hungry. With correct thinking, you see failure not as proof of weakness, but as the training ground of champions. Every time you rise after falling, you become more dangerous to doubt, more dangerous to fear, more dangerous to the excuses that try to hold you down. Failure is not the end of the road. It is part of the road. It is not the final chapter. It is one page in the story, and the way you think about it will decide whether you stay down or rise higher than before. Correct thinking is acting with courage before certainty. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions, and the perfect guarantee that everything will work out. But here is the truth. Certainty never comes first. Certainty only appears after you have already acted. Waiting for certainty before taking action is like waiting for the ocean to become calm before you learn to swim. If you wait too long, you never enter the water, and you never learn what you are capable of. Correct thinking understands this simple principle. Courage must go before confidence, action must go before clarity, and risk must go before reward. The majority of people spend their lives hesitating because they are afraid of making mistakes. They say, what if I fail? What if people laugh? What if I'm not ready? And while they hesitate, opportunities pass them by, doors close, time moves forward. They think they are protecting themselves from failure, but in reality, they are locking themselves out of success. Correct thinking refuses to let fear decide the pace of life. It knows that fear will always be there, but fear is not a stop sign. It is an invitation to grow. Acting with courage before certainty means that you step forward even while your hands are shaking, even while your voice is trembling, even while your heart is full of doubt. You do not wait for fear to disappear because it never truly does. You simply choose to move with it. This is the secret of every leader, every innovator, every person who has done something extraordinary. They felt the same fear that you feel, but they refused to let fear become their master. They thought correctly. If I wait until I feel ready, I will be waiting for the rest of my life. But if I take action now, I will learn, I will adapt, and I will become ready through experience. Correct thinking understands that movement creates momentum. The first step may be small, uncertain, even clumsy, but it opens the door to the second step, which is stronger, clearer, more confident. Each step builds on the last, and before long, you are running where you once only crawled. People on the sidelines will ask, how did you become so confident? The answer is simple. You acted before you felt certain. Correct thinking trains you to trust the process, to trust that clarity will come not before, but during the journey. When you demand certainty before acting, you are demanding something impossible. No one can predict the future with absolute accuracy. No one knows for sure how things will unfold. But courage is the willingness to move anyway. And when you move, the world responds. Doors open that you never imagined. People appear who want to help you. Resources show up that were hidden before. The path reveals itself only when you are already walking it. Correct thinking is what keeps you walking even when the fog is thick, believing that the next step will bring more light. Those who think incorrectly let fear paralyze them. They live in the world of someday. Someday I will start. Someday I will try. Someday I will follow my dream. But someday is not a day on the calendar. It is an excuse, and it kills more dreams than failure ever could. Those who think correctly know that courage today is worth more than certainty tomorrow. They know that bold action attracts opportunity. They know that waiting for perfect conditions is the same as waiting forever. Acting with courage before certainty does not mean being reckless. It means being willing to learn while moving forward instead of demanding guarantees before you move at all. It means trusting that mistakes can be corrected, lessons can be learned, and skills can be built along the way. It means recognizing that the only way to become capable is by beginning when you still feel incapable. Correct thinking whispers a different message when fear appears. It says, yes, I am afraid, but that means I am growing. Yes, I don't have all the answers, but I will discover them by taking the next step. Yes, I feel uncertain, but certainty will come after I begin. This mindset transforms hesitation into progress, transforms fear into energy, transforms doubt into strength.